We are merely looking at parts of the big bureaucracy where there has been tremendous waste and fraud and abuse. In that process, we identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. 50 million. And you know what's happened to them? They've used them as a method of making bombs.
50 million. So it turns out that's not true. The Biden administration did not, in fact, provide $50 million for condoms for Hamas. This has been fact-checked. In fact, DropSite News found the documentation about the federal grant, and here's what they discovered. Turns out the United States did send $50 million for STD prevention to Gaza, 83 million to be exact. Just so happens it was sent to the province of Gaza in Mozambique.
Oops.
A country located on the southeastern coast of Africa. Okay, so again, the Palestinian people in Gaza, Hamas in Gaza, did not receive $50 million worth of US condoms from that grant like President Trump suggested earlier today. So that has not happened, but that's hilarious. I also noticed a community note on allegations that the Biden administration sent $50 million worth of condoms to Hamas. The community notes reads as follows. This is a grant for AIDS/HIV prevention in Mozambique, a country in Africa. So you get the point. And by the way, I think this is another example of how the community notes feature on X is actually fantastic. I like it. Sure, there might be issues here and there, but generally speaking, the community notes does a good job providing nuance, correcting, inaccuracies in people's posts on X. So I appreciate that. So no, just to repeat myself, the Biden administration did not provide condoms for Hamas. As for Hamas, though, there is some reporting from Bloomberg dating back to 2018, claiming that Hamas had used condoms to create bombs. Here's a photo of the headline, and you can see the fun photo that they used in the reporting showing floating condoms. Flaming condoms are the newest threat to southern Israel, the headline read, which is crazy, but I wanted to give you some excerpts as well. It is behind a paywall, but here's what they wrote. Sometimes tied together for added buoyancy, the inflated prophylactics are attached to gas-soaked rags, other burning items or explosive devices, then flown over the border like balloons into southern Israel, where they set fire to farmlands and nature reserves. The military has struggled to deal with these crude but effective weapons. It initially employed drones to take them down as they crossed the border, but hundreds eluded the high-tech challenge.
Okay. So apparently I was wrong about that. So there's a bunch of things to say, two different issues. But first on the community notes, I agree with you, I like them. I've said for 20 years straight here, stop canceling people and stop firing them. Just have more conversation, right? So the community notes in a sense gives you more facts and more conversation instead of canceling the original post. So, okay, now onto the substance of the Gaza story. So another fun fact, USAID pays about 5 cents per condom. And we do actually spend money on condoms worldwide, as that Mozambique story shows you. There's a very good reason why, I'm gonna get to that in a second. But at 5 cents, $50 million would have bought you 1 billion condoms. Okay, I don't know how prolific the folks in Gaza are, but they're not that prolific, probably. And if I've been kidding around about this, and if anyone's trying to do birth control in Gaza, it's the Israelis that are creating that pressure, okay? But anyways, I'm just kidding, because in this case, it has nothing to do with them. It's Mozambique, it's in Africa. So who did actually start that? Look, I don't know if that program is connected all the way back to this, but likely it is. George W. Bush started treating AIDS worldwide, especially in Africa. And that was one of the things that we gave him a lot of credit for. I criticized him on about 95% of things that he did. But that AIDS program was really good. Now back then, by the way, people would be like, oh, okay, way to give him credit for the thing he did right. I think times have changed, okay? But that was likely a Bush program, and a successful one too, by the way. And we want that to happen. We want health throughout the world, and canceling all aid across the world makes no sense. because one of the things that it does, for example, is prevent outbreaks of malaria and other diseases. When you have those outbreaks, it can spread to America, as we saw recently, and cause great devastation. So cutting those programs is a penny wise and a pound foolish, right? So he was totally wrong, and all the right wingers going around about how $50 million to condoms in Gaza are wrong. But I was also wrong because I thought there's no way in the world there's condom bombs. This is one of the funniest lies that Donald Trump has ever made up. But it turns out apparently there were. Okay, so look, I thought maybe it's even propaganda, but it would be weird propaganda. I read the details of it and I was like, oh, okay, it actually sounds like there were, okay? Now, having said that, think about how desperate and defenseless you have to be to come up with the idea of a condom bomb. While the other side is dropping 2,000-pound bombs all over the population in Gaza. Now this was pre-October 7th, this was back in 2018, but all this talk of the Palestinians like, oh, they're Goliath, they're these savage terrorists, they're about to kill everyone in Israel. And by the way, as we say, hey, let's calm down here and let's stick to the facts and be angry when it's appropriate to be angry. I mean, when you get a population riled up thinking they're all about to die any second, you know what you get? You get Israel. And you get massive overreactions, right? So no, the Hamas was not going to kill all of Israel with condom bombs. So you do that when you're absolutely desperate and actually are totally defenseless. And so if you say, oh no, my God, it burned up a lot of areas, I can't believe it, they're the worst people on earth. And you can think they're the worst people on earth. I would massively disagree with you if you're talking about the Palestinians, or if you're saying it about Hamas. Okay, fine, terrorism. At the same time, Israel did 40 times worse than Hamas. And if you say no, as long as Israel's doing it, I love it, and I'm glad that those Palestinian babies and grandmothers are all dead, and I wish they'd done more. Because of the condom bombs, I think that maybe you're getting your priorities mixed up, and so. Anyways, so Trump has an inability to stick with the facts. So whenever he actually gets something right, I'm always shocked by it. But my bad, I should have double checked before I said online, not on the show, but online, that condom bombs didn't exist. Shockingly, apparently they did for a second. Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below, because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.